y'all, it's Kate from the Literary Apothecary, and I am so excited to celebrate with you all. Today is 400 subscribers. I have such a fun video planned for you guys today. I'm doing an Outlander character tier ranking. This is my first tier ranking I've ever done, and I thought, why not start with our Outlander characters? So I'm taking the Outlander characters, and I'm thinking mostly from what I've gotten to know of them in the books so far. We have much more of character development and character deep dives in the books than we do in the TV show, though there are a few characters that the TV show has swayed my feelings for, so stay tuned for those. And so I tried to take a more critical view on these, and there's going to be some characters in some categories that you think, well, this doesn't sound right. Let me explain. There are some characters that are so well written that you just love to hate. And instead of putting them in a hate category, I've put them in different categories and you might not expect. And I will explain as I'm going through the different characters, but I love it when a character is so well written that you just can't help but feel the way that you're supposed to feel for them. And our categories are as follows. The top tier is would die for. Those characters that I love so much I would die for. Then there's love, like, dislike, and meh. Just those characters that just didn't feel right. To me, dislike and meh are characters that could have been done more of, or characters that we just have too much of that type and we don't really need any more of. And so like I said, as I go through each of the characters, here there's a big giant list I have all marked out ready to go. I'll explain some of my thoughts and feelings towards them, but I hope you guys love this video, and thank you all for subscribing. We hit 400 subscribers and I'm so shocked, so amazed, and so excited to see where this journey goes after this. It's been an amazing ride so far and I am so excited to see where it goes. So thank you all for subscribing, and let's get into this tier ranking. So bear with me because this is my first time doing this. These will get better as they go on, but I'm still trying to figure out how to get the picture in the picture, so you're just going to deal with this screen for now. And let's get right into it. We're going to go in order of the way my notes are, so I don't have to spend time trying to find them. So first and foremost, we have Mr. Jamie Fraser, James Malcolm Alexander Fraser. Jamie, of course, would die for. I would do anything for Jamie. He is the best, and he's just great. Next up, we have Claire Fraser. Claire, for me, is one of those hard characters because she annoys the heck out of me a lot. I appreciate her character and what she does for Jamie and all the other characters, but I'm going to start this off with a really strong opinion that's going to get some people not liking me, but I'm going to put her in the like because I don't love her and I definitely wouldn't die for her, but I like her character. And as I said before, this is all critical trying to think critically of our different characters and kind of what they stand for in the books mostly instead of the show. Some is weighed by the show, but mostly the books. Next up, we have dear Fergus. Fergus, we have in the would die for category, along with Jamie. I just love Fergus's character so much. He's so lovable, he's so great, and yeah, I would die for him. Next up, we have the amazing Mrs. Fitz. Mrs. Fitz to me is she's a love character. I love her character so much. I probably wouldn't die for her, but I love her so much. She is such a great character. She's so lovable and loving and heartwarming, and she's just the best. And then we have Murta. For me is another would die for character. In the books especially, in the books, his character arc is so well done. Spoiler alert, and I'll put timestamps here where you can skip ahead if you don't want to be spoiled about Murta's character, but In the show, he lasts a lot longer than he does in the books, but in the book, I think his character arc is perfect. We get him in the first 2 books, and in the end, he essentially dies saving Jamie from Blackjack at Culloden, and it's just so perfectly done. I love his character so much. I would definitely die for him. Next up, we have young Ian. Ian Murray is so good. Another character I would die for. A lot of these are characters I would die for, but I just love them so much. They're so fantastic. They're beautifully written and they're great. Young Ian is one of many children of Jenny and Ian, and he's fantastic, and he gets into so much trouble, and his plight with the Native Americans in North Carolina is just heartrending and heartbreaking, and I just love him to pieces. And next up we have Marceli, who is another character I would definitely die for. Marceli is fantastic. She's that sarcastic character that you love. She's got love in her. She's spunky. She's fantastic. And her love for Fergus is just so heartwarming and endearing. And she's the best mom out of them all. I just love her. Next up we have Brianna, which is another character for me that is hard to talk about without making people not like me. Brianna for me is another like character because for both her and Claire, spoiler alert, when they try to put their ideals onto other characters without thinking about the time that they're in, the character that they're talking to, the ideals that these characters have. They just try to, even though they know it's for the better eventually, they still try to change the characters, and I can't gel with that. So I put Brianna as a like character because I appreciate her character. I enjoy what she does, but she gets on my nerves a lot. Next up we have Roger. I'm putting Roger in the love category. I absolutely love Roger's character so much. He's so well written. He is the perfect foil to Brianna. He's the perfect match for Brianna, and I just love his love for Brianna, and he's just a great character. Next up we have Frank. Frank is such an interesting character because we get him in so little spurts that I'm putting him in the Mia character because we get him in just such little spurts, and we get him more in the show than we do in the book, and I'm going off of the book characters mostly, so I'm putting him in Mia. If this was just based off of the show, I would probably move him up, but do we need Frank here when we have Blackjack also? I don't know. That's a question to be answered by the masses. Next up, Lord John Grey. I absolutely love Lord John Grey to pieces. I would absolutely die for him. He is one of the best characters in this entire series. I love him to pieces. I relate to him on so many different levels, and he is just so great, and he becomes such an amazing friend to Jamie and Claire and their entire family and the entire settlement, and he's a fantastic dad to Willie, and he's just the best. Let's see. Next up we have Aunt Jocasta, who's Jamie's aunt and Ellen Mckenzie, Jamie's mother's sister, if I remember right. And she is in the love category, I'd say. I think a lot of people would put her in the like category because she's kind of But for me, I love her character and what she adds to the series, and she's able to be there to reflect the times of America at that time and their ideals, and she's just so great. Next up we have, along with Aunt Jocasta, we have Ulysses, who is her partner, her servant, her slave, her right hand, and Ulysses is a fantastic character. he goes into my like category for me because I don't absolutely love his character and some things that happen with his character, but I like him and I like what he does. I love the support that he has for Anticosta, so he's in the like category. Next up, we have the Formidable Steven Bonnet. This is going to rankle some sleeves where I put Stephen Bonnet, but this is one of those instances where I said we have characters that we are supposed to hate. And I'm adding him to the love category, not because I love him, but because I love to hate him. His character is written so well that you just love to hate him. You can't help but hating him. And along with that, a character that I skipped and didn't mean to, we have Blackjack. Blackjack, even more than Stephen Bonnet, is just so well written. You love to hate him. You fear him every time his name is mentioned on the pages. I get goosebumps, and his character is so well written. I can't help but love it. Next up, we have another formidable, very weird character, and that is Gaelis Duncan. I have her in the like category. I could not put her in the love category. Sometimes when we had her in there, I wondered if we have too many villains, because she was another bad guy, another foil to all that's going on in book 1 and subsequent books, and I wondered where she was in this whole story, and maybe that will be explored further on in later books. We have 2 more books to come. One that gets released actually next month in November, so maybe we get more on this to come. But I put her in the like because I like her character. I like some of the things that has happened to her character, but some of the things that were brought up in especially later books I could do without. Next up we have Joe Abernathy. Where is Joe Abernathy? Is he even in here? Yeah, we don't have him in here. I thought we did, but we don't have Joe Abernathy in here. So I will take this moment and add a picture of him here. And I will say that he, for me, goes into the like category. One of the things that I loved about his character was that we got him as a juxtaposition to Claire kind of in the future as she's a doctor, and we get kind of those philosophical conversations, and he is a confidant for Claire that she can tell him right before she leaves to go back to Jamie what has happened. And next up we have Rollo. Rollo I would definitely add to the would die for. He is the bestest boy. He's so great. He's so fantastic. He's so loyal to Ian, young Ian, and he's great. And of course I would die for him. Next up we have Adso the cat, which is another one that is not on this list of characters. I should have planned better for this, but I didn't. So we're going with it. Adso the cat is going into my love category. I love him. He's kind of like a surrogate child to Claire and Jamie before Brianna comes back, and he's just such a lovable character. And next up we have another character that's not on here, which is Jeremiah, who is Brianna and Rogers / maybe Stephen Bonnet's child. To be determined, although I believe it is still Rogers, and we're just led to believe it could possibly be Stephen Bonnet's. But Jem is absolutely would die for, top tier. He's so fantastic. I love him to pieces. Next up we have another top tier character, and that is Jenny, and let me find Jenny's picture. Jenny is, like I said, would die for. She's so fantastic. She's so strong-willed, and I love her character so much. She is just the best. And next up we have another character not on here, and that is Germain, who is Marceli and Fergus's first kid. Germain is fantastic. I have him in the love category. He is so great, and he's just fantastic, and I love him. And next up we have Ian, who is the elder Ian, and I have Ian in the love category. I love this character so much. He makes me smile every time he's on the page. And he's played by a great actor here. This actor just embodies Ian's character so well. And Ian on the page is just so heartwarming and lovable, and that strong character that Jenny needs. He's that softer side of Jenny, and he's just so fantastic. Next up, I have another character that I absolutely love, and we have a lot of these emojis in my Discord, so come join the Discord if you haven't already. That is the one and only Ned Gowen. Ned is the lawyer in the bunch, and he's just so fantastic and so great, and I love him to pieces. Next up, we have Master Raymond, who was such an interesting character for me. Master Raymond goes in the like category. He was so interesting and fascinating to me, and I put him in like because I wish we had more of Master Raymond, and there is a little bit of a mystery left to who Master Raymond was, and maybe possibly did he come from another time like Claire and Gaelis and Brianna did, and that's to be determined, but I love him so much. Next up we have Angus. Angus is a like character for me. He's a great comedic relief character. He is so funny. I know every time he's on screen or on the page, I'm gonna laugh when I see him, and I just love that about him. But I don't know. I feel like there's still something lacking in him, but maybe he's just supposed to be the comedic relief. Now, here is another possible controversial pick. We have Dougal Mckenzie, and for me, I'm putting Dougal into love. He is so well written that he embodies the Highlander spirit so well, especially at that time, wanting the Bony Prince Charlie to be on the throne and to lead Scotland, and his character he would do anything for his cause, and I just feel like he's so well written. I have to love him. And along with Dougal, we have his brother Colin Mckenzie, who is the laird, the leader of the Mckenzie clan, and he's also a love character because he's so strong and he goes through so much with his ailments, and I just love him to pieces. Next up we have Fiona. I don't think we have Fiona on here, so I'm going to say Fiona is essentially the housekeeper for Roger in the future in Scotland, and she is a descendant of Mrs. Graham, and she is in my dislike category mostly because I don't know, we don't get enough of her to really figure out what she's about, because she has this man that she's engaged to or married to, I forget, but she also gives off vibes that she wants Roger, so it's hard to figure out where her aim is. Next up we have Ying Ting Chu, or Willoughby, and he goes into the like category for me. I appreciate what his character does in the series, but he has some sketchy scenes, and he shows kind of I appreciate that he shows the other side to all of the racism and discrimination here. There's a lot of discrimination against Asians, and they call them the yellow people here, and I appreciate that he's there to show that side of society, which doesn't get shown a lot in historical fiction, so his purpose I can appreciate a lot. Next up we have the one and only Bony Prince Charlie. He is such an interesting character. Putting in the Fiona, I'm putting in the dislike category because while I appreciate that we have him as a character, I don't know that we necessarily need him as a character. So he's one of those weird ones to me that, and also like he's just insufferable. So I put him in the dislike. Next up we have Marie-Louise de la Tour de Algeria. She was a weird one. She was so weird. I'm putting her in the meh category because while I appreciate that she was a friend to Claire when Claire needed one, I feel like Claire used her more as to spy on Bony Prince Charlie, and I just don't know. I just feel meh about her character. I don't know that we need it, and I don't know that I have any strong feeling one way or the other toward it. Along those same lines, we have Mary Hawkins. Now, Mary serves two purposes. She was a friend to Claire, but we learned she is also essentially the mother to Frank's descendants, and the sister-in-law and future wife to Blackjack, and I don't know how I feel that we need her in here. I mean, I appreciated her, but do we need her? She was also very meek and mild-hearted, and I don't know that we needed her in there. I feel meh. Next up, we have Leary, who was so bad. She was a badass. I'm adding her to the like because I appreciated what her character did in the time, and what I appreciated of it was that we have these characters that in this time there are people like that. There are people like Leary. There are women like Leary that would do anything for the man that she thought she loved. And so I could appreciate that about her. Next up, we have the one and only Duke of Sandringham, and he's in my dislike category, mostly just because of his character. This is one of few characters here that I just had to add to dislike because his character is so wrong. But also another bad person in this. How many bad people do we really need in this show or these books? I appreciated, his political aspirations, he was the person that you had to go to make things happen. I appreciated that because that was the true of the time, and even now there's people, if you want certain things done, you have to go higher up on the list. But I didn't like him at all. We also have Reverend Wakefield. Reverend Wakefield, where are you? Here he is. He, for me, is in the love category. I just love him so much. His character is so great, and a great counterpart to Frank in those flash forwards where we get them talking about the Scottish Highlanders and the Bony Prince Charlie times and all of that. And he's a great adopted dad to Roger, and he's just so fantastic. Next up, we have Mrs. Graham, who is actually Reverend Wakefield's housekeeper and Fiona's grandma, I believe. And I have her as a like category. She is a great character for what she's there for, but I feel like she did her purpose, and so that's why I put her in like. We didn't need really anything more for her, or less. I feel like she served her purpose. Next up we have Phaedra. Phaedra, for me, I'm putting her in dislike because I don't know that we needed her, or maybe we needed more of her or less of her. I don't know. Something about her character didn't rub me the right way. And speaking of characters not rubbing me the right way, next up we have Saint Germain. I'm putting him in the like category because I appreciated, just like with Mrs. Graham and Larry and all the other characters, what he did for the series. He again showed that other side to it, but again, how many bad characters do we need? Next up we have Rupert, And I have to tell you, Rupert is one of my favorite side characters. I'm putting him in love because I love every time he's on the page, every time he's on the screen. He's one of my favorite side characters ever. He is comedic relief. He's funny, but he's also loving, and he puts thought into his actions. And he's one of those characters that you know he'll at least try to do the right thing. And so I just love him for that. Next up, let me see. I need to pull up the right character for this one. Some of these, I just don't know who is who. Geneva. Okay, yes. Next up we have Geneva Duncan. I'm also adding her to the dislike tier. She was, again, another bad... I wouldn't say she's a bad character. She wasn't a bad person. She did bad things. She thought she was doing them for the right reasons, but she blackmailed Jamie into sleeping with her so she could choose the first man that she slept with, because she was being forced into this marriage by her family. And I don't know, she just, yeah. Now let's see, where is this guy? Some of these people on screen I think we will not have because I couldn't remember them. Next up on my list I have Horrocks, who I don't see on here, so I'm just gonna go along with it. Horrocks for me was a meh character. Like, I appreciate what he did, but did we really need him? I don't know. I feel like it was just adding another... He was a foil, yes. I mean, I don't know. He was meh to me. I could take him or leave him. Next up we have Hugh Munroe, and I also don't see Hugh on here. Hugh was so great. He was, let's see. Yeah, for me is a love character. I loved his character so much, and I cried so hard when he died. He died trying to essentially help Claire and Jamie, and he was such a great friend, and he was so good on the page. Next up we have the formidable Gerald Forbes, who is so despicable. He's one of those characters that he is not like the worst character that we have, but he's bad. He is good. I have him in the dislike because I just did not like his character at all. And again, we have so many bad characters that how many can you do, really? Next up we have Father Bane, who was so creepy, so weird. And I have him in the like category because, again, he represented the time. There was a lot of people that had that, especially the Scottish Highlanders. They were very superstitious. That's what the word is. And very religious. And Father Bane just encapsulated that part so well. And the actor that played him was terrifying. Next up we have... This is taking way longer than I thought because I don't remember what each of the characters look like. We have him here, so we might be able to just... Do we have him? I'm going to go ahead and say this is Captain Leonard. I don't know if it actually is, but I don't know who that guy is. Or is this him? I think this is Captain Leonard. I'm going to say this is him. Captain Leonard for me was dislike. We didn't need... I don't feel like we needed him. We had enough going on as it was. Did we really need him added to the whole mix? We're getting to the end of our list here, and there's still a lot of characters on the screen that I don't think we have. Okay, they left this one off the list. I should have created my own list before I started, but I didn't think about it. My next character up is Mother Hildegard from our time in Paris, and she is a would die for character. I absolutely love her so much. She is so fantastic, and she's there for Claire. She gives Claire that outlet that Claire needs during that time, and she's just so fantastic. Her character is so well written, and she's just the best. Next up we have Adwili, who I put in the meh category. I appreciate that we have the Native American aspect, but I don't know that we need her character specifically, and I add her into meh instead of dislike or like because in the show they change her character, and I didn't like that. I hate it when they change a character in a show from the book and it's not needed. We didn't need this change. Why couldn't you just have her be the same person? So I have her there. Next up we have Hamish, who is Colum/Dougal's son and the heir to the Mckenzie throne, or land, I guess you say. And he is in the like category for me. I like his character a lot. He's a great child actor, and his character is played well because you need that, especially in these times, you need that male heir. So his character is really well done. Next up we have another character who I don't think is on here. Yes, I don't see him on here either, which is sad because he's such a great Scottish looking character. Next up we have Taran Mcqueery, which I put in the, I have him in the dislike category because, again, we have so many bad people here. How many more do we need? This just felt like it was kind of filler pages here. So, yeah. Next up we have, I don't even know how to say this, Carlton, who's one of the Native Americans that young Ian becomes friends with on his travels. And I have him in the like category because I like that we saw Ian make a friend while he was there. He has a strong feeling towards him. He needed that friend and that patriot there. Next up we have the one and only Lord Lovett, who again goes into the like category. We needed that kind of older person in the generation aside from the Mckenzie clan. He gave us the Fraser side of the family, and I felt like it balanced that Jamie's family very well. So the last character I have on here is Lizzie Weimas, who is Brianna's kind of servant, friend, whatever you want to call her. I have her in the meh category because while I appreciated what she did for Brianna, I don't know that I could take her or leave her. I don't know. I just felt meh about her. So that was my Outlander character tier ranking video. Obviously not every single character from the series is on there because that would take forever, and this is already a long video as it is. But let me know what characters you agree with here, what characters you don't. I know there are some on here that people will disagree with, and I can't wait to talk about these with you all. Come to my Discord. We have Outlander chats all the time, and it's so much fun. And yeah, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and of course, most importantly, thank you all for subscribing. This has been our 400 subscriber celebration, so thank you all for subscribing and coming back to my videos and just hanging out with me. I love you all to the moon and back. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you get notified every time I have new videos out. Keep reading, and I love you all to the moon and back. Bye.